Welcome to UpDown Politics. In this video, we're going to talk about Switzerland's new digital ID, which was just voted in. And this digital ID is now being pushed in Britain as well, and eventually it will also come into United States, and Donald Trump will accept it. And I guarantee you that right now, because he is on a war path against domestic terrorism, at least according to himself. So I will talk about that, and I will talk about the new TikTok deal, which is also a surveillance backdoor for the establishment, which is the Israeli lobby and the neocons in power right now, like Trump. So first, let's talk about digital ID in Switzerland, and then I will connect the dots into how it will be done in the United States as well. So Switzerland has approved digital ID with 50.4% voting yes. Now imagine you are in the minority of 49.6%, a little bit annoying times, because as you can see here, when you go to the website called digitalswitzerland.com, you can see one of the sponsors is Palantir. Now this community here, Digital Switzerland, it's a lobbying group with 160 companies like Microsoft and NGOs, think tanks, all kinds of groups that all basically want an AI-led digital future where big corporations own your personal data basically, and they can control what kind of information you have access to, what kind of services you have access to, and who is left out of the society. That's the idea of digital ID. So when we go to the digitalswitzerland.com, you can see this statement from 28th of September. So today the Swiss population said yes to a central digital infrastructure. We can now build this. So the new digital ID will be used from access to public authorities and concluding contracts to proving age in everyday life. Um, then they will be using this for reliable identification of people on the internet. So anonymous internet, you can kiss it goodbye. That is now out of the door. And at first, this platform will be free and it will be optional. But over time, they will lock more and more features, more and more freedoms behind this digital ID. So you basically have to use it if you want to be part of normal life. And if you don't behave like the technocrats want you to behave, then you can be locked out of your bank account, your social media accounts, your instant messaging applications, and your phone can get bricked as well. And eventually you might even go to jail if you are not a good citizen according to their standards. So this is an absolutely authoritarian dystopian future, and obviously I don't like it. This is just another form of top-down governance where the bottom people, normal people, don't really have a say. The technocrats at the top basically dictate what can you do and what you cannot do. Even if you go to switzerlandtimes.com, sorry, switzerlandtimes.ch, you can see that this will be used to prove their identity online and off. So your search history, your browsing history, they will go to an AI data bank and they will construct a digital AI avatar of you to determine if you are a threat to their established governance or if you are a law-abiding citizen. And according to their analysis, you will be fed different kinds of information and eventually you will be punished, like I just explained, like opening a bank account or buying alcohol, and these could get blocked if you are not behaving correctly. So it's absolutely dystopian, and this is unfortunately coming to Britain and is coming to USA as well. So now let me explain how it's coming to United States. So here is JD Vance retweeting what Donald Trump has said on X. So on Truth Social. So I am directing Secretary of War to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland. So Trump is now acknowledging that there is a war inside the United States right now, and that Secretary of War needs to take action and send troops. And he has authorized full force, if necessary, to take down Antifa and other domestic terrorists. Now, what are these other domestic terrorists? Who is part of Antifa? That is extremely vague. So nobody knows what is Antifa and what are these mysterious other domestic terrorists. Because if you take a look at footage, there is no attack in ICE facilities that I have seen online. Maybe you have seen it somewhere, but I haven't seen any credible footage of an actual attack and a siege on ICE facilities in the United States. So this to me seems like this whole attack is completely imaginary, but they want to invoke these emergency powers right now for a couple of reasons. First, they want to uh, make it look like there's this terrorist threat in the United States right now. And they also want to provoke the left to do something silly like violence. Because when the left does create some violence, then they can excuse more authoritarian measures and to basically concentrate power into their technocratic ideal of the future. Now, one thing to note about JD Vance is one of the biggest sponsors for JD Vance was a company called Palantir, which is an AI company that is used for military AI intelligence, among other things. So he is completely paid by technocrats. So this is basically a terrorist threat. And here is where it comes back to the digital ID. You don't know who is part of Antifa. We don't know who is part of other domestic terrorist organizations. So what is an obvious answer to this is that now everybody, if you would simply subscribe to this digital ID program, then we know who is a terrorist and who is not a terrorist, and then you can feel safe. Obviously, that is the play they are going with. And right now, when we take a look at US Attorney General Pam Bondi, she is now seeking the death penalty nationwide. So that is absolutely interesting, but scary as well. Like, why would you need to seek for death penalty nationwide? Like, in a normal country, you would not use anti-terrorism mechanism to take down criminals. You would use just the normal lawfare to take down criminals. So this is, in my opinion, a government overreach at the minimum. And then let's talk about TikTok deal, because the TikTok deal has now gone through, and the reason for the TikTok deal was to take out Chinese influence from American people, to basically protect Americans from China and basically protect Americans from foreign influence. But what has been hidden here is something sinister. So let me show you how. So under the planned arrangement, Oracle will see the TikTok's security operations. Now, Trump has said that Oracle CEO and founder Larry Ellison is involved in the ownership group, and that his company Oracle is playing a very big part in TikTok. So Donald Trump then continues that TikTok is owned by Americans, and very sophisticated Americans. This is going to be American operated all the way. So that's basically Donald Trump trying to convince you that these new owners, Larry Ellison, is completely American and you have nothing to worry about. But then the easiest or the most interesting part is that he said the word American 3 times in a row. But when you actually take a look at the investors in this TikTok deal, and then Oracle was one, Silver Lake, and Abu Dhabi-based MGX investment fund. So now Abu Dhabi is investing here. So how is Abu Dhabi an American? I don't get the connection. And also, when you take a look at Larry Ellison, who is Larry Ellison, and what is this Oracle? Well, Larry Ellison is this guy here. And going to fortune.com, and this came out just a couple of days ago, this piece of news, he has made some interesting statements in interviews before. So one of the most interesting statements that Larry Ellison has said is that citizens will be on their best behavior because we are constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. There will be regular surveillance as daily life is documented seemingly non-stop. So Larry Ellison wants a police surveillance state, and that citizens are the target of their actions. So now Larry Ellison is owning Oracle. So again, the question is, who is this Larry Ellison guy? Well, we can go to Jewish Chronicle to get the answer, because the question that they impose is, how Jewish is Larry Ellison? And this piece of news came on September 11th, 2025, which is an interesting date, but I'm not going to talk about that. But anyway, this is a pro-Jewish website, a pro-Zionist website as well. And Zionism is basically just nationalistic Israeli religion or Jewish religion. Larry Ellison is one of the most wealthiest people on the planet. In fact, he overtook Elon Musk for a couple of days after this TikTok deal went through. So his net worth spiked to $290 billion. So he's now, I think, number 2 on the list, or number 3. I don't know exactly where he is, but he's extremely wealthy. And as you can see, Ellison was born Jewish, and he's a major donor to Israel. Ellison has given tens of millions of pounds to groups supporting Israeli soldiers and Israeli startups. And now we're talking about pounds, so this is only in UK, and you can imagine what it has been in USA. But because Jewish Chronicle is a British Jewish community since 1841, that's why they are talking about pounds and what has happened in UK. But he's a Zionist completely, and also when we take a look at some other investors here in the TikTok deal, one of them is Rupert Murdoch and his son Lachlan Murdoch, who are both devout Zionists, right-wing Zionists as well. So TikTok basically went from Chinese influence to now Israeli influence. And to seal the deal and to basically wrap up how Israel is now basically controlling American social media, here is Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, having a meeting. As you can see, it says New York. So he had an Israeli event in New York where he invited TikTok influencers, and he said in a speech there that TikTok is the most important weapon in securing Israel's right-wing support. Weapons change over time, and the most important ones are the social media. So Israel considers TikTok a weapon, so clearly they are in charge right now. So this is the surveillance state that we will be getting in the future. TikTok is just part of the surveillance state apparatus, but eventually digital ID will come to United States and they will excuse it using anti-terrorist rhetoric. And we have seen the same thing play out back in 2001 when we had the infamous Twin Tower strike. After that, we got the Patriot Act, which eroded people's privacy and gave U.S. government, unprecedented powers to surveil their citizens and to also enforce anti-terrorism activities in an unprecedented way. So we're definitely going into that direction with Trump, and Trump is just basically selling out the American public to Israel as well. So that is basically the world we are heading towards, and in this world of further and further centralization, we also have obviously the counter trend, which is decentralization, and that is why gold is going up in price. That is why Bitcoin is going up in price, and that's why I'm invested in those assets. And if you want to hear my investment takes, consider following me on my second channel, which I will link in the description. But This channel is purely for the politics. So that's it for the video. Hope you got some value out of it. I'll see you guys on the next one, and bye bye.